Good day, learners. Welcome to Life Sciences lesson. My name is Tinyuko Vuma. This lesson is brought to you by Sci-Bono Discovery Center in collaboration with Gauteng Department of Education. Yay, we are back again. And we had such a great time looking at the biodiversity in animals. It was a very interesting topic, isn't it? Yes, it was. So we learned about different phyla. We looked at from the most simplest to the most complex. And today, we are now going to look at the role of invertebrates, in agriculture and ecosystems. The word ecosystem is not new to you. You have learned about it, and you know it is the interaction of the biotic and abiotic components together, because we need non-living factors. We also need living organisms, and their interaction brings about ecosystem. If we look at invertebrate, those are, who can tell? Who can tell? Those are organisms without backbones. This is fresh in our minds because when we looked at biodiversity in animals, we looked at invertebrates, organisms that are so minute they don't have a backbone. We also looked at organisms like chordata, me as an example of chordata, and you as an example of chordata, because we are from the same species and we've got backbones. Very interesting for us to know that invertebrates, those small organisms, they've got such a vital role. Don't undermine diversity and don't undermine nature. When we finish this lesson, we must be able to define biodiversity, of which will be a refresher statement or little course, and explaining the importance of invertebrates. We are unpacking that today, describing the role of pollinators, pollinators, and identifying the value of some invertebrates. Some invertebrates, they don't have much of a role in agriculture and ecosystem. However, some have big roles that are going to make you wonder today. And also you will be able to discuss the impact of decomposers. So as we look at the objectives, keep at the back of your mind as we carry on with the lesson to say, am I able to answer this? Am I able to engage with this? Am I able to tell something about invertebrates looking at this subheading? We already know, even we start this lesson, everyone in this class, I assume and I hope that they have got a proper knowledge of ecosystems and the interaction happening in them. And learners, I know you really have your general knowledge on pollination, because this is like, as much as it's scientific, but it is something that happens around us in our daily lives. You also know organisms that are responsible for decomposition. Decompose, we'll talk about it now. And you know what pesticides are. You know what pesticides are and their role in pest control. You also know about soil health. If we speak about human health, you know what must be done in order for me to be healthy. But the soil, which is an abiotic factor, has to be healthy as well. So you know this general information, which is forming a good basis of today's lesson. It is very important for us to emphasize even our pre-knowledge, because life sciences builds up on one information that you have learned in the past, and then you've got what you're learning fresh from the box, and then something that is going to build up on what you have learned today. Let's check, class. if you are able to answer these questions as your baseline assessment. Baseline assessment, we know that prior learning something new, do we have an idea of what we are going to talk about? Can we answer some of the simplest, very straightforward questions? We have got on the board 3 simple questions. Let us see if you are able to answer them. But I am not going to waste time on you reading the questions and answering them. Let's do this together. This is just simple multiple choice questions. There are only 3, but you will see how crucial they are as a build-up of what we're going to learn about today. The first question, 1.1, says, what is the primary role of bees in agriculture? There are 4 options that are given for you. You've got A, which is pollination, B, decomposition, C, pest control, D, soil health. I'll just give you 2 seconds to think about the right answer. Make sure you write it down so that when we correct our baseline, you are able to see where you went wrong and you are able to see where you are strong in terms of the information. Are you done answering 1.1? Oh, yes. Let us now move to question 1.2. It reads thus: which of the following invertebrate is a beneficial pest control? Look at beneficial. Which of the following invertebrate is a beneficial pest control? 4 options as well. They are given: A, earthworm, B, lady beetle, C, butterfly, D, ant. Which one are you choosing from the 4 options? Oh, you have answered that. Let us now come to the last question for our baseline assessment. And the question is 1.3, and it says, which of the following practices can harm? So we're looking at harm. Which of the following practices can harm beneficial invertebrates? Beneficial, those invertebrates that are benefiting our ecosystem. 4 options like the other 2 questions: A, organic farming, B, integrated pest management, C, pesticide use, and D, crop rotation. Have you chosen your answer? Quickly before we come to the discussion of our answers, have you answered the 3? Oh yes, I can see you are agreeing that you are finished because it's easy. Be careful though with multiple choice questions where you have to choose one answer. You cannot guess. So you are not allowed to write, for example, I'm just giving an example of something that is not from the 3 questions that we have. So let us say we have question 1.4. You cannot write A and /B because you are not sure whether the answer is question 1.4 in 1.4 is A or B. That means that you are guessing. So even if your A, which is the first part of the question, was correct, you are going to lose your mark because that is guessing. Be very careful. Our learners have got a tendency of being careless when it comes to such multiple choice questions where instructions are very clear. This was just an example. So we are now going to look at our answers for the questions. 1.1. What is the primary role of bees in agriculture? Bees, zing, zing, and that bee sting, if you have experienced it. What is the purpose? The answer there should be A. A is our answer. It is for pollination. We'll pack it here because we are going to unpack a lot of information about bees and their major role in the process of pollination. Question 1.2. Which of the following invertebrate is beneficial pest control? Beneficial pest control? What's your answer there? It is B. So you got it right. Somebody is saying, I'm confused. Why, ma'am, are you saying B is the answer? Lady B is responsible for benefiting in terms of pest control. When we speak about pests, pests are those small insects like aphid, which will be sitting on the plants or crops. And what they do, they lay a lot of eggs on the leaves, and they also sip and suck the sap, causing the crops to suffer because they will have this coloring of the leaves. And you know from photosynthesis, when leaves are no longer green, is this particular plant going to be able to manufacture its own food? No. So they are harmful. And the benefit of lady bees, they are predators. They are predators. But you know what a predator is? It's organisms that feed on other organisms. So they basically hunt and feed on the other organisms. So this is a beautiful natural way of pest control, because lady beetles, what they do, they can feed on thousands and thousands of ashes, for example. They eat them up. And in that way, the crops are safe, because now those ashes are what? They are the pests which are causing such a harm to our innocent crops. And what will happen later? The harvest is going to be less. And what will happen to the person that is a farmer will lose. What happens to us as consumers? We no longer have enough supply. Then what will happen to the prices? The prices are going to increase unnecessarily. Can you see the integration of events in life sciences? One thing cannot be seen in isolation, because it builds on another one, and this one builds on another one. Life sciences indeed is a beautiful subject. Question 1.3. Which of the following practices can harm beneficial invertebrates? So we've got organic farming, integrated pest management, pesticide use, crop rotation. Before we even look at the answer that is correct here, you must be knowing what organic farming is. Have you ever heard about organic food? Food that is very healthy. There is no artificial manipulation in order to have a good harvest, to yield more. You know about GMOs, genetically modified organisms. Because with technology these days, everything is possible. But when you speak about organic farming, it's where it's the natural way of farming. If we are farming and this farmer is, the intention is to have tomatoes for us to buy and survive on, there is no manipulation. There are no injected genes to manipulate how the yield is going to be. However, we're going back to our answer. The answer there is the practices that can harm pesticide use. You know, pesticides are chemicals. And pesticides, because they are chemicals, they can just destroy whatever. The purpose of using pesticides is to control pests. However, chemicals, you know what they do. In the process of getting rid or eradicating what is not allowed, there are also pesticides, they are sucked into our soil, disturbing the quality of soil. And they are also washed into the rivers when it rains. And what will happen? That will result in water pollution. And earlier on, we spoke about soil health. If soil now has a lot of pesticides, will the soil be healthy? No, it will not be healthy. But just for you to know, integrated pest management, that is easy. But crop rotation, just to refresh your mind, do you remember what it is? Crop rotation is when I, as a farmer, and I hope some of you are intending to pursue agricultural sciences, a route where you are going to be farmers, because farming is very interesting. It is. So in order to give a break to your soil, what happens is that maybe for a specific period of time, let me just give a simple example. So this farmer is planting maize for 1, 2, 3, 4 years. And after that, they say, hey, because now maize will be sucking specific nutrients from the soil and the quality will be depleted. So in order to revive the quality of soil, the farmer will, after 4 years, for example, say, okay, now I'm going to plant what? Sunflowers. Yay. That's something different. So that's crop rotation. And we can just confirm our answers now by, oh, yes. So there is your solutions. That's your A, which is pollination, 2 marks. And we have got Lady Beetle, that is for 2 marks. And we have got pesticides use. Some of you missed out here and there because you were confused. That is why I had to give you a quick refresher course on the terminology, because it links to our life sciences. We've got some terminology that we're going to look at. This is just the basis. In life sciences, terminology is the backbone of each and every chapter. That you know that when you start learning about something new, there's basic terms that you need to know. And somebody saying, oh, Madam Vuma, it is very difficult for us to memorize. Life sciences is difficult. It's not. If you get your friends, you practice, you drill, because this you must drill. Learners have got a tendency of asking, does spelling count? Yes, it does. Big time. And if you are defining or giving terminology definitions and you miss out some important parts of the definitions, you surely lose your marks. Let us look at decomposition. As I indicated when we started our lesson, that we are going to just go a little bit deeper and see what some of these terms mean. This is the process by which organic substances such as dead plants, you can see dead plants that are pulled out, so they are no longer alive, they are not manufacturing their food, they are not taking soil, water from the soil and nutrients, they are dead. You can see maybe you are cleaning up your garden and there's weeds that have formed a heap, so those are dead plants. And animals are broken down into simpler compounds by living organisms such as bacteria. That is decomposition. Have you ever seen a dog that was run over by a car? So maybe on your way to school, in your parents' car, or is a taxi that takes you to school, you see that dog because it is not removed, it's right on the side. If you wait for few days, you will start seeing that dog starting to like raise. The bacteria are busy. And later, when you pass, the smell, close the windows, the smell is killing us, because now that dog exploded. When you keep checking, as a scientist, when you do life sciences, you are a scientist, be aware of your surrounding. You must be inquisitive. You must have your research questions. So as you pass, you must also be observant, because scientists are observant. They are. So in that process, decomposition is taking place. This is very important in the role of invertebrates, because bacteria, they are very, very small. They are invertebrates, but now they bring about the process of decomposition. Now let us look at pollination, which, as I indicated, some of you know about it. So pollination is the transfer of pollen from the male part of the flower to the female part of the flower. I am going to be showing you the male part and how the transferring is taking place to the female part for fertilization to take place. And let's look at humus. Humus is organic components of soil formed by the decomposition of leaves and other plant material by soil microorganisms. Microorganisms, they are those small organisms. Some of them is very difficult to see with our naked eye. So what they do in the process of decomposition, look at the link. Just look at the link. So decomposition has taken place, and now humus is going to result. Where do we see humus? It is the topsoil that is found. Very, very rich. Can I advise you of something? When in your kitchen you are cooking or helping to cook, some of you, I don't know, do you really cook? You should be, but if you are not, maybe you are helping out with cleaning of the kitchen. When they peel the potatoes and the pumpkin and the spinach, when they take the stalks, instead of throwing them in the bin, you take them to your garden. You can even dig a hole, throw them in, cover with topsoil. That is going to help create the humus that we are talking about. Later, when you go to the same garden and now you plant something, you can see the quality. Your crops are going to be very, very happy because they are planted in rich soil. There's other terminologies that we will speak about as we carry on, but just remember what we have looked on now. I hope you don't forget. The journey begins now. The ecological value of invertebrates. You can see some of the examples of the invertebrates. Can you guess what this is? I think it should be an earthworm. You can see the segments. We've learned about it last time. And what do we see here? It's yellow, beautiful flower, yellow in color, attracting our friends, which help in the process of what? Of pollination. Everybody can relate to this. What is this, class? Oh, yes. I saw a hand up. That's a bee. Beautiful. And why do you remember? Oh, yes, you got a bee sting. Now I understand. There are our bees there, and they are busy on our flowers. And here we've got the earthworm that is sitting in the soil, and it's doing its beautiful job that we are going to look at. Let us unpack now pollination. We did our terminology. We spoke about what pollination is. But now let's go a little bit deeper. So pollination, as we have explained now, is the transfer of pollen from the male part of a flower to the female part of the flower of the same species. Do you remember when I spoke about chordata? And I said I'm an example of chordata. You are also an example because we are of the same species. Do you know what same species means? It's organisms that have got similar characteristics, and they're able to do what? They're able to interbreed and produce fertile offsprings. So if there's a way of interbreeding, that is the same species. So exactly with the pollinator, there are different pollinators, but we are mainly looking at bees. So pollinators, what they do, they are in charge of allowing the process of pollination to take place. Hence, we call them pollinators. Insects collect nectar from the flowers and pollen sticks on their body. When insects are busy, you see this is like a pollinator. This is our insect. It's a butterfly. When they move and they are moving around in a flower, they don't even know that they are doing such a great job to balance our ecosystem. Their aim is to suck the nectar, which is good for them. But as they do that, the pollen sticks on their body, because pollen also has got structural suitability, so that there must be a widespread, because there must be reproduction. They must increase in number. So you see this insect is from pollen here. These are the pollen grains that are found on the pollen sticks, right? And then the pollen grains will now rupture. When they rupture, they now release pollen. I want you to know that as you have learned from the structure of the flowers, that some are wind pollinated. But now we are looking at the invertebrates and what they do to pollinate our flowers and also different types of our plants species. So now that we've got pollen, the pollinator is here buzzing around, collecting nectar, and the pollen now is sticking to this pollinator. And it comes to this flower of the same species. The aim of this pollinator is to get nectar. And now the pollen is rubbed on the stigma, which is the female part of the same flower, same species. And in that fashion, the pollen is going to go down and to the ovary where we've got ovules, and fertilization is going to take place. Hence, fertilization will allow for the increase in numbers and continuity in the species of organisms. This is really interesting and exciting. Let's check this out. If you go to the supermarket or to the vegetable shop, fruit and veggie shop, there's all these different veggies because pollination results in fertilization for the production of fruits and seeds. We speak about seeds. You see this watermelon that is open in half. There are seeds. And did you know that the seeds are very useful? That is why sometimes when you eat your fruits, you can see this is purples and all the seeds. And the seeds are meant to be now planted, and then they can grow. And when they grow, they now yield to a purple fruit, a fruit tree, which is now going to give a lot of purpose. So you see the increase, the fertilization, but it all began with pollination and pollinators that have allowed for that. I wish I could pick some of my favorite fruits. I see somebody saying, oh, ma'am, I wish I can have grapes. Somebody says, my pineapple is my best. Somebody saying, oh, grapefruit, ma'am. All these are our different fruits. Can you see? Can you see that the invertebrates have such a major role for us to be benefiting? Sometimes we take it for granted because, you know, you just go to the fruit and veggie shop, veggies are there for you, fruits are there for you, and you find seeds and you throw them away, you don't even care. But today, awareness, linked to your curriculum is awareness, which is our daily story. So go back to your families and tell them, oh, my life science teacher today taught me about why we have got in our fridge all these fruits, where they come from, and how we can allow fertilization and further increase of the same species to take place. Bees are the most important pollinators. I have said to you, we have got different pollinators. If you check, we have got ants, we have got moths, we've got butterflies. They are pollinators. But if we look at bees, bees are the most important pollinators because they spend their entire life collecting pollen and nectar for their developing young. In order for the young ones to survive, bees must be forever busy. So for them, it's mandatory because now the young ones need the pollen and the young ones need the nectar to survive. That is why if you observe a swarm of bees, you will see the movement. They are forever busy. If you go to your garden, you will see that hardly impossible that you don't find bees inside the flowers trying to get pollen and trying to get the nectar for their young ones. Look at this. No wonder bees are very important. Scientists know that bees are dying from variety of factors like pesticides. Pesticides, this is very familiar for you. We have got drought, habitat destruction, nutrition deficit, air pollution, global warming. All these factors that are outlined, they are negative. If let's say, and I've seen it's so practical for us. You know, as we were growing up, I know me and you, we are not the same age, but it's okay. So when we were growing up, there were places which had rabbits. You walk in a place, you'll find a lot of different fruits. You'll find beehives where bees are busy working because they are very busy. It was so easy, even for the people that had the expertise of going to get honey. Hey, because you cannot take your chance. You don't go by the beehive and say, I want to get honey. You'll get the sting of your life, because bees, they protect their territory. But because of habitat destruction, what might be causing habitat destruction? Who can tell? Infrastructure. Houses are built every day. It is the commercial side. Roads are being made. And because of that, you find that cleaning up of the natural habitat. And in that process, now we don't have the natural homes for our bees. Drought, for example, you can see the changes in our weather patterns due to global warming. This you will learn more. Air pollution, you will learn more when you do human impact on the environment. But can you see already something that you're going to learn later? It's here by its significance, or the role that is played by invertebrates in agriculture. That is why I keep saying you will not sit and learn a chapter in isolation, because chapter and chapter, they overlap, they are intertwined. You know, intertwined? It's like this one will overlap to this other part of this lesson, and that one later will link to what you have learned in January or February or March, because today is March. Have you ever heard about bee farming? Yes. Because of the challenge that we mentioned earlier on, about the habitat destruction, about the air pollution, about global warming, droughts. And we said that bees are dying out. But we need them. We need them because they form a crucial part of our ecosystem. There is what we call bee farming. If you want to farm for bees, you need to be registered. You don't just wake up and say, I'm going to farm bees. There must be legislation that is followed for you to register, to get a certificate, which must be renewed in 24 months. And now you can start artificially farming bees. You can see that here is our farmer, very busy. Sure, what you see here, all this black is bees. Check, this farmer here is wearing a veil. Why should you wear a veil? Because if those bees decide to fly from this tray here, they can come straight to your face. So you need to protect yourself. You can see that we've got bee hives. That's where bees are being kept to multiply in number. If you look here, smoking bees out. So in other words, bees must be allowed to come out. So there's a smoker that is used to allow them to move out so that they can be harvested. Look at honey extractor, because bees do make honey. The honey that you buy, and it is pricey. It is pricey. And the nice thing is that if the honey is natural, without the mix and manipulation, that is the healthiest. So in other words, people that are doing bee farming, the purpose is also to allow us as consumers to have access to natural honey. And also to keep, because if they don't allow them to breed, what are we going to have? We are going to have a challenge where they will all die out. You know what it means? If they die out, they become extinct. So they're completely wiped out and there's nothing left. For now, we are saying they are in danger. So we can say that bees are becoming endangered species. And that is why nature conservation people will not allow you, if ever there are bees that decide to make a hive close to your house, because they can choose any place, you are not allowed to kill them. You can ask the people that are in charge of nature conservation to come and move them safely. Because if you kill them, you are saying, can they become extinct? And imagine life without bees. What will happen? There will be a lot of gaps in agriculture, and there's also going to be a lot of gaps in what? In the ecosystem, looking at the role that they play. You know the different names of the female bees, you know about the males, you know about the working bees. This is a full functional community. Bees are amazing. You should see them busy, just like ants. If you check them out, they've got a system in place. So this one will know. The queen knows it's time for me to mate so that I can have more eggs. And now those eggs will be laid, and it means that we'll have more bees that are going to be born. The drones, at the same time, the brothers, the male ones, they know their role, that they are supposed to be providing the sperms for fertilization. And the worker ones, this one will know I must go get nectar. This one I'm getting the pollen, and they come, they feed, because the young ones are able to grow, and as they grow, they are producing more honey. Grade 11s. These systems, because we are human beings, we struggle. But if you could know about this system, we can go far. Even for your life science class, if one of you is strong in terminology, they can take over peer group teaching. They can say, okay, I am going to be in charge of running or helping you with terminology. And someone is good with animal diversity. They say, I can take you through the journey. We can answer the questions together. In that fashion, teamwork, the yield becomes good. But human beings are human beings with our expanded brains. Ooh, this one will be finicky about that. This one is going to be fussy about. The time is not right for me. It's the time for supper at home. But you can always improvise, like you are sitting, all of you paying full attention to this lesson. I want you to look at this activity. Crossword activity. I want you to take your time, see if you can answer the questions. So you are going to check, going down. So all this is going down. It's not the first time we're doing crosswords class. This is going down, and then we've got across. So across is all the terms that you must write going across. This is not new for you, so you know I'm just explaining for the sake of explaining. You have got 1 up to 12. Read each one of them, but you are going to work individually. So it's not group work. You're not allowed to discuss with your friend. It's individual work. I am going to give you how many minutes do you think you want for this? I'll give you, let's make it 4 minutes. So starting from now, you need to establish the terminology that is based on the explanations that are given. Good luck. 4 minutes time, we are back to mark. Every little block must be completed by each one of you. All right, class. I suppose you are finished. As I check your work, you were just wrapping up. I'll give you a few more seconds, just a few more to wrap up number 12. It is alleged that I am very stingy with time. Time is money, they say. We cannot waste time. That is why if you are given an activity, you answer, you focus, you try your best to answer as much as you can. The good thing about this activity is that I had asked you to go and research on bee farming prior this lesson. Unless if you did not do your homework, you will not be struggling with the answers. Indicate by raise of your thumb to say you are good. Oh yes, everyone is good. Let us look at the answers for our crosswords. Why do we do crosswords, by the way? Crosswords, they are helping us with terminology. Very, very good. Because the blocks will force you to have the correct spelling. As learners always ask when they do activities or they write terms, they say, oh, life sciences, ma'am, has a lot of terms. Does spelling count? All those questions. And yes, spelling counts. Because if you spell something wrong, it might have a completely different meaning compared to what you are supposed to say. Let us see if you are able to answer all the terms that are given from 1 up to 12. I can see smiles to say, oh, ma'am, I think I got it right. I think I got it right. Whoever is gonna get 12 out of 12, yay! Let us look at number 1. A machine used to remove honey from frames. It's called the extractor. There's the extractor. You got it right. Beautiful. Number 2. What do we call a bee house? Bees also have houses. Beautiful nature. They are not like you and me that will go to a hardware and buy material to build a house. But they've got their own way of building their houses. What do we call a bee house? Where's number 2? There's our number 2. It's called hive. Question 3. What do we call a male bee? Where's number 3? We are looking at number 3. The male bee is called a drone. I deliberately mentioned this prior this activity. Question 4, that is now across. A sweet treat made by bees. So we are looking at number 4. The sweet treat made by bees is honey. Sweet indeed and healthy. 5, it's used to make candles. Interesting, isn't it? When we've got load shedding, the candles that we use to bring some light when you study and you say, I have got life sciences homework, I must do this homework, otherwise madam is going to be on my case. Those candles are made by, that's number 5. Let us check it's also across, and that's a beeswax. Number 6, a tool used to calm bees. I told you, bees can be aggressive. So what is a tool that is made, especially when the people that are doing farming are supposed to handle bees? What is the tool that they use to calm bees? And we're looking at number 6, which is going down. Where's our 6? It's called a smoker. I've shown you the smoker to calm them. Number 7, a part of the bee's body used for defense. Organisms, they can defend themselves. Me and you, if something comes, if somebody wants to fight me, I can try my best. You think I can? Yes, I think I can. I can try and fight back. I'm defending myself. But now bees also, they have got their own way of defending themselves, and that is going down. and it is number 7. So let us look at number 7. That's a stinger. When the bee bites you. So when it bites you, it's not angry with you. It is just saying, hey, leave me alone. Stay out of my territory. And I'm going to show you flames if you come to my territory and they sting you. That stinger remains in your hand and you need to pull it out. It is the swelling. And some people are really allergic to bee stings. They're very allergic. People can die from bee stings, those that have got serious allergies. So make sure you avoid wherever possible to fiddle with bees. Number 8 is a cross. What is necessary for the production of fruit. So that's a cross. And what's number 8? Production of fruit. That is pollination. Oh, got it right. Number 9 is going down. The only female that lays eggs in the hive. What is that? Female, the only one. Not all the bees can lay eggs. I mentioned it as well. And let us see number 9, which is going down. So we're checking number 1. Oh, that's a queen. Number 10, a sweet liquid bees collect from flowers. They suck it from flowers. Everybody should be knowing this one. Number 10 is a cross. Where's number 10? And that's nectar. Number 11, it protects the beekeeper's face from bees. Where is number 11, which is going down? It's a veil. And number 12, a person who takes care of bees. It's a cross. So let us look at number 12. We're searching for number 12. Oh, number 12 is hiding here. And this is a beekeeper. 12 out of 12. I see some learners said, Ma'am, we did our homework. We knew almost everything. The excitement. Those that got 6 out of 12, it's 50%. It's not bad. But next time, when you're given some homework, make sure you do that homework so that you are able to answer. But Ma'am is very happy with the answers, and I applaud you. Well done, well done, well done. I've got a feeling that one or some of you are going to be bee farmers. How you answer this, it's amazing. Congratulations and job well done. Let's move on. It was pollination and bees and ants and butterflies and moths. Let's move to something else now. Decomposition. Just a refresher statement because we've done it in terminology. Decomposition is the process that decays or breaks down organic molecules from dead organism into simpler organic molecules that are released into the environment and reused in nutrient cycles. In grade 10, you have done nutrient cycles. So you know a cycle is when something is happening from one point to another, to this point, yielding the outcome that is linked to the beginning. Invertebrates like worms and beetles, they break down. So we're looking at worms now. And beetles, they break down complex. Complex means those that are big, they break them down. They break complex organic molecules. And complex, look at this term here. Please make sure you know it as well. Detritus, they are the complex organic molecules that are broken down, such as leaf litter, into simpler molecules. Can you see that it's worms that are found here? They look very, very busy. I want you to look at this soil. Can you see that there is breaking down? There's breaking down. There's breaking down. You can see there are spaces in between. There are spaces in between to show the breaking down process. We mentioned humus. which is the organic part of soil, which greatly improves the quality of soil for plants. Because plants also, they need good quality. And who can mention to me something that you have learned in grade 10? If we say the soil is of a good quality, it has got what? It's not very sandy, and the soil is not very clay, so it's well aerated. So it means that it has got enough air that is entering, and the drainage is good. Oh yes, then we can say the quality is good. Look at this soil. You can see it's even dark. It has got this dark, rich color. Because the decomposers, what they did, they've broken down anything that was found around it and made the soil to have such a good quality. You can tell, I can also tell that what we have here already is a plant that is growing. This is looking good. Can you see? The leaves are beautiful. They are nice and green. There's life here. You can see this plant is coming from very good soil. It's not struggling. It's not malnutritioned. If we have such in plants, yes, we do. Malnutrition in humans. Also, plants can be malnutritioned, where you see, oh, even the leaves, when you are now buying from the market, you see, oh, I'll just buy because I'm buying, but this is not the best of the best, because they've gone through things. Sometimes it's pests, or sometimes where they grew, the environment was not good, or they went through drought, etc. And if they are not manipulated by technology, GMOs, it means that they come out showing that they suffered at some point. I just mentioned soil aeration, okay, which is about the presence of air. Look at this. Invertebrates like earthworms, they burrow in the soil and make tunnels. They make tunnels through the soil. And these tunnels allow gases to move through and aerate the soil. Look at these worms here. This is an earthworm. They are burrowing through the soil. Can you see? They are burrowing through the soil. So they are breaking down those complex pieces of soil. They break down to make it nice and loose, so that this soil can get enough air. Because soil, as much as it's abiotic, there must be good movement of gases in and out. If you go to your vegetable garden, I mean, sometimes these things we just take very simple. If you go to a soil that is rich in humus, especially now that it's raining, you don't know if it's summer or winter, but it rains. You go to your vegetable garden and dig a little bit and take your soil, hold it in your hand. Yeah, you will see a lot of earthworms. It's a lot of them. Some are grinching to say, oh, ma'am, I'm scared of them. When they wiggle around my hand, I can't, but they don't bite. Even if they were like biting invertebrates, you will find ways of taking caution. But earthworms are innocent and harmless. Look at the good job that they do, making tunnels for this soil to be good. Later, when you plant at the backyard, your vegetable garden, things are just blossoming. They look very beautiful because of just earthworms. Invertebrates, they play a beautiful role, I promise you. The feces of earthworms, so as they excrete, do you remember earthworms? They've got a through gut. They've got a mouth and the anus. So when they eat and then now food is digested and they excrete the waste, the feces of the earthworms are rich in nutrients as calcium and phosphorus, which makes the surrounding soil fertile. You know the word fertile. It means that the soil is ready. It has got enough nutrients. So as the earthworms are moving around and they are busy excreting, ingestion taking place, removing their feces from their body because they are feeding and relieving themselves or releasing waste from them. They don't even know that they are giving this soil calcium and phosphorus, which is very good because now the soil becomes even more fertile. Should you plant something there, the plants are very happy. From earthworms making the tunnels to make the soil well aerated, to the feces that are bringing the nutrients, calcium and phosphorus, which play such a good role in the balance of the soil to make it healthy. Do you see that when we speak about healthy soil, we do have soil that is healthy and soil that is unhealthy. Somebody is saying to me, I can see. They're asking me, but ma'am, what's the point of having earthworms? I can go and buy fertilizers and make my soil rich. I can still have the same yield. But that, you know, fertilizers, they are chemicals. And you know how I mentioned earlier on that chemicals have got their negative impact because it's nothing natural. The chemicals will be absorbed by the soil, and the soil is no longer healthy. And with this rain, these chemicals are carried, fertilizers are carried to our water bodies, and we are going to have a lot of nutrients in the water body, and that will result in algae bloom. Think of the aquatic organisms, how they will suffer, starting from the plants that are found in water, coming to the animals that are found in water, aquatic animals that we have learned about. If the water body is not user-friendly, then challenges will start to show. The natural way of invertebrates, that is the way to go. Microscopic decomposers such as bacteria and fungi can further break down organic matter into humus. I have spoken a lot about humus. Microscopic, you know, they are very, very small. Unlike earthworms. Earthworms, they are not microscopic. Because you can, from your soil, you can see. You can even count them. You can see them wiggling in between the soil. Because for them, they don't even know they are in danger. Whether you are holding them and stuff, they are busy doing their job. But we also have got those that are very, very small, microscopic ones, bacteria and fungi. We have learned about microscopic organisms, viruses, protista, bacteria, fungi. But we are just looking at the ones, bacteria, that as much as we have learned about bacteria and fungi that will cause harm in plants or also in humans or animals. But we do have beneficial ones, which are decomposers. Can you see that in terms of invertebrates, we do have harmful ones, we also have beneficial ones. Hence, today's lesson is the benefits of invertebrates, where in agriculture and in our ecosystem. Beautiful. The activities of earthworms are important because this is important. You can see that it's even highlighted for you not to forget. Their tunnels accelerate. Accelerate means they speed up. They accelerate the decomposition of nutrients to be reused for plant growth. So in other words, decomposition of nutrients was going to take place. But because earthworms, you see this earthworm here is sitting here, you can see it's hiding right in the soil. Right, so it is the tunnel that it has formed. What happens is that it helps to make the decomposition faster, so that when plants grow, they have already healthy, rich soil for proper growth. The community structure of the habitat is dependent on soil nutrients and plant growth. Their tunnels improve drainage of soil. Soil that is well drained, because if the soil is not well drained, we can have waterlogged soil. Waterlogged soil, what will happen to the plants? The roots are going to rot. When they rot, the plant will do what? Will die. And are we going to have any harvest? No. Or the harvest is going to be little. Therefore, market, there's no benefit. Therefore, no money. Therefore, if at your house they are doing farming, what happens? You don't even have your lunch money when you come to school, and you come to a life science class and you are miserable, you are angry. I am hungry, ma'am. Can you see the levels and the impacts thereof? These things, they give rise to one thing and after another. That is why we need to preserve, we need to take care of our nature, irrespective of big things and small ones. each and every organism has a purpose. No matter how small it might sound or look for us, the purpose is good. Earthworms act as a pump when they move through the tunnels by pushing and pulling air around the tunnels. Beautiful statement. Their tunnels loosen the soil and allow plant roots to penetrate deeper into the soil. The deeper the plants penetrate, the better, because that's where they will have maximum nutrients access. They're able to get nutrients enough, which is deeper in the soil. And also the anchoring of the plants is more improved. Can you see that? These points here, 1, 2, 3, about the earthworms, is just balancing the ecosystem. Because earthworms, are they biotic or abiotic? Can I say a hand? Oh yes, they are biotic because they are living. Earthworms are living. But is the soil living? No, Madam Vuma. Soil is biotic or abiotic? Abiotic. But can you see the relationship that exists between the earthworm and the soil, so that at the end, everyone benefits? Shame. The poor earthworms, they don't even know we are benefiting this much. They just think we are living in the soil and having our food and moving around. We are grateful to have such diversity in animals. I love animals. I love nature. I know you do as well. You can't be doing life sciences if you don't like nature, if you don't like the presence of these different diverse organisms. We've got an activity that we are going to do together. It's activity 2 and 2.1. The question is, name 3. You name 3. By now you know what I will speak about when the question is posed. What will I say? Somebody's hand is up. Yes, you must always check your verb. Here it's just for you to name. How many ways? 3 ways in which invertebrates play an important role in agriculture and ecosystems. Do not mention 1. Mention 3. Why do you stop at 2? Because if it's 3 ways, you'll get how many marks, class? 3 marks. So if you mention 1 or you mention 2, where is that 1 mark going? Remember, 1 plus 1 plus 1 will give you an extra what? Percentage, which will improve what? Your results even better. 2.2. Describe the earthworm's contribution to decomposition and soil erosion and how it contributes to soil fertility when the soil is fertile. I am giving you just 1 minute for 2.1 and 1 minute for 2.2. Think about this. Yes, you are allowed. You can talk to your neighbor. It's okay. It's not an exam. I'm not that strict like the crosswords. So that quick discussion is helping. You can do that. You should have finished the naming part now. Now we are looking at the description. Describe. Don't work in isolation. Speak to your friend. Some of you are introverts, but none you need to communicate. Because one point that is mentioned by one learner, you might have missed. Oh yes, we are going to mark now. We're not taking the whole day on this. That's why I said you discuss this. Okay, 2.1, the naming part of the question. 3 ways. Let us see the 3 ways. You know them. It's easy, you name. 3 ways in which invertebrates play an important role in agriculture and ecosystem. Pollination. I can see. You know, discussion helps a lot. Yes, pollination. That's our first answer. And we've got soil erosion. And the last one is decomposition. Oh, yes, I see someone say, oh, ma'am, I missed the decomposition part. Yes, decomposition also, it's one part that invertebrates play a role in. and it brings about the importance in agriculture and ecosystem. 2.2, the describing question. Some of you say, oh, ma'am, when they say explain and describe, these questions are hectic, but you must think deeper. We cannot have the same level of questions because naming, it's basically level A. It's easy. But now when you describe, you must be able to have a way of outlining your answer. Let's have a look. It's the whole story, which is easy. Don't despair. The earthworm is responsible for creating tunnels in the soil, allowing more water and air to penetrate the soil. That's your first description. And they also act as piston that pushes and pulls air through the tunnels as they move. That's your second answer. And now the other one is earthworms also consume dead organic matter such as leaf litter, and their waste is further broken down by bacteria, releasing nutrients back in the soil. You remember the nutrients that we spoke about. I hope you do. So it's 1, 2, 3. You cannot afford to ignore this. 2.3. So you thought we were finished with questions. Describe again. Describe how decomposition contributes to nutrient cycling in the soil. We are now talking about decomposition, the breaking down of complex organic matter into the simpler ones. Who can just answer this one? I don't want you to discuss. Somebody would say, ma'am, I remember. We just learned about it today, so it's easy for me. And the rest of you, what do? You listen attentively. Listen attentively for the answer. Don't doubt yourself. You can do it. Who's saying I'm going to describe how decomposition contributes to nutrient cycling in the soil? Oh, yes. Okay, I'm listening. Oh, good. But don't mumble your answer in the future. You must be audible. Class, do you allow me to say exactly what I heard from your classmate? Because the answer is beautifully outlined. But I don't think everyone was able to hear all the flesh that was given to this answer of describing. Okay. I think, yes, this is correct. I'm right. So, nutrients are logged in dead organic matter. And what must happen to them? They must be decomposed. They must be broken down to release these nutrients back to the soil. Hence, we speak about nutrient cycle. So they are logged. So if something dies, whether dead plants or animals, as I've mentioned earlier on, if they die, the nutrients are locked in them until decomposition takes place to release them back to the soil, because they must be used by the soil so that plants can absorb and use them for growth. Which part of the plant is used for absorbing, class? The roots, yes. Therefore, decomposition ensures that nutrients are broken down from dead organic matter to be used in plant growth. You have given a complete description of the contribution of decomposers in nutrient cycling in the soil. Make sure you cover different parts. For this answer here, you tell us about nutrients that are not broken down because they are logged in dead organic matter. Then you further now tell us that they must be broken down. And what is it that breaks them down? It is the decomposers. And later when they are broken down, what is the significance thereof? The significance is that when they are broken down, now the plants are able to get them so that they can grow. Can you see it's a cycle? It's a cycle. Look at this activity 3. How can decreasing bee population affect the sustainability of natural ecosystems? Natural ecosystems. If we're speaking about the decreasing bee population, I mentioned to you that bees are getting extinct. Do you remember? Oh, yes. They are endangered, in fact. If we carry on not taking care of them and there's no bee farming, they can get extinct. I pity the generations to come, because they will hear there were bees, and they will never have had a natural way of being in touch with these invertebrates. I am going to discuss with you this answer. If bee population decrease, the amount of pollination will decrease, because we said bees are the busiest. They are the busy ones, collecting nectar, and they are collecting pollen for the growth of the other bees, and will potentially result in fewer plants being pollinated, which will decrease the production of seeds and therefore regrowth. Can you see that if we have a challenge, one challenge will give rise to another challenge? And if our challenge is that the bees population goes down or it's eliminated, that's even worse, because the pollination process will not take place. Therefore, what will happen? It means that now the production of seeds is decreased, meaning that even the plant species that were dependent on bees for multiplication, for fertilization, and for further growth, it's minimized. Therefore, the entire ecosystem will collapse. We don't want a collapse on our ecosystem, because it is not good. Homework time. Homework time. Homework time. Yeah, this homework is a lot. But I want us to go through this homework, because our next session, we're going to be engaging on each one of them. Time flies, grade 11s. I mean, you just started now in January, and in no time, we are finishing the term. And look at all this, because for your homework, you are going to revise these topics for the revision, because when we meet next time, it is going to be revision. We are revising all the topics that we have done. So you must go and revise the basic structure of viruses, bacteria, protista, fungi. These are our microorganisms. Also, revise the roles of each: viruses, bacteria, protista, fungi, in maintaining the balance. Don't forget to look at the maintenance of balance in the environment, the role that these microorganisms play in maintaining the balance in the environment. Look at the link. Interesting. Today we're looking at the role, ecological role of invertebrates in agriculture and ecosystem. Now you are revising what we've learned about the maintenance of balance in the environment by the presence of the microorganisms, viruses, bacteria, protista, and fungi. Don't forget to go and revise. Disease is caused by viruses, bacteria, protista, and fungi. And also immunity. How we are able to, our bodies are able to survive any challenge on their own. That is immunity. But you must also revise, just for your information, make sure you revise when you speak about viruses. Revise, know the type of diseases that are caused by viruses, the ones that are caused by bacteria, the ones that are caused by protista, and also fungi. And also remember the treatments and also the symptoms. You have learned about all this. And also look at biodiversity in plants. You have learned about bryophytes, you have learned about pteridophytes, gymnosperms, and angiosperms. You have also learned about how they develop from the most simplest to the most complex, because in biodiversity, for both plants and animals, we're starting from the phylogenetic tree. You remember phylogenetic tree? The evolutionary tree, which shows us that in the beginning, when we had the easiest or the simplest, they were simple, there were no complications, there were no stories. And as now the development starts from bryophytes, pteridophytes, you can see that there's more development, and from there to gymnosperms, and from there to angiosperms. You know the type of fertilization for the different organisms, for the different plants, and also the different phyla. That is the correct word even, right, in plants. Revise as well. Sexual and asexual reproduction, which is found in different plants phyla. Sexual, asexual. You must know the difference between the two. Just in case you are asked to tabulate the difference between asexual or sexual reproduction in plants phyla, you must be in a position to tell us what happens there. And flowers as reproductive structures. Look at the link. This you learned when you learned about flowers. Little did you know that we are going to be meeting again and talking about flowers, male parts, female parts, pollen, and invertebrates that are busy for pollination. Hence, I know beyond reasonable doubt that when we learn about a chapter, that chapter will give rise to another one. And that one will give rise to another one. Because we said, class, they are what? Do you remember that term that I told you? They are intertwined. There's integration of different topics. Hence, I say life sciences is easy. Because if you know, don't memorize. It is necessary. I'm not saying don't memorize at all. I am saying don't memorize the flow of events in life sciences. Yes, you need to memorize terminology. You must be able to write the correct terms. You must be able to tell if a statement is given what it means. That is memorizing. Also different parts, if they are labels, you need to know them. But if I say don't memorize, the flow of event is so automated and natural that you don't have to be a rocket star to pass life sciences. That is why I am saying to you, vouch to yourself, vouch to your friends, vouch to me as your teacher to say, Madam Vuma, I promise you my life science target is going to be good because I know this is practical. It's very practical. But the challenge that we normally pick out from learners is when they learn something, it's a chapter, they learn it in isolation. And when they answer in the examination, they also answer such in isolation. Go and also revise biodiversity in animals. Do you remember those different phyla? Platyhelminth, Porifera, Cnidaria, Annelida, Arthropodas, Chordata. I'm just mentioning them. And somebody's getting excited to say, oh, ma'am, I remember them as well. You must remember each one of them and where they stand on the phylogenetic tree. I just spoke about the phylogenetic tree in the biodiversity in plants, how the development takes place from bryophytes to pteridophytes to gymnosperms to angiosperms. But the same thing applies to animals. Go and revise. With animals, you must know how they feed, how they protect themselves, the kind of body plan that they have, asymmetrical, bilaterally symmetrical, or radial symmetrical, if they have a coelom, if they have got how many germ layers, endoderm, exoderm, or mesogloa, or mesoderm, and the development of cephalization, the anterior, posterior, dorsal, ventral. Oh, somebody is saying, ma'am, that looks like a lot. But you revise for the sake of your assessments that you're going to do for your term 1. But also, if you learn to understand, you know that you're already ready for exams. Because if you learn and this you understand and the links, you are ready for end of the year. End of the year, you just brush. Our challenge that we pick up as teachers, and you know about the challenge as learners, it is that learners study now for exams. They don't study to understand. And learners also in class, that's why I'm quite strict to say, you look at me, let me have eye contact. You look at me as I teach you, so that I know that you are able to listen, because my teaching is not in vain. Some learners will just decide to switch off and they bank on the textbook. Yes, textbook is a guidance for you. But what the teacher does, like I am doing, I'm emphasizing specifications, things to remember. What is your exam guideline saying to you? And for homework in close, go and revise the role of invertebrates in agriculture and ecosystem. If I were you, break time tomorrow, I'll say to my friend, I'm not going to study all these things. Can we just sit and relaxed speak about what we learned yesterday? It was going to be easy. So you know that you have eliminated going to the book and try to memorize pollination, decomposition, and you memorize about soil aeration, and you memorize about bee farming. It's not necessary. Speak to your peers. Be like bees that are busy. Talk to your friends. It helps big time. The summary of our lesson today is bees are most important pollinators. So we know you remember the other pollinators that we spoke about, ants, moths, butterflies, but bees are the most important pollinators. And other vertebrates, I've mentioned to them, they also help in pollination, but the bees are our leading brand. And earthworms play a role in soil aeration. You can see bees, earthworms, they are even bolded, you can see, so that you remember what they do. They make tunnels through the soil, which accelerates the composition of nutrients and improve the drainage of soil. And then decomposers. They break down complex organic matter, and such as leaf litter, which is further broken down into simpler organic matter called humus. Please do not ignore what you see. If something is underlined or highlighted, it carries more water. I want us now to prepare ourselves. We can't wait. 20th of March 2025. We are going to have our beautiful session again, where we are going to be revising all of what? Term 1 work. All those topics that I gave you. It is going to be complete engagement. Make sure you don't bunk class. Make sure you don't stay absent, because you are going to be fine-tuned in preparation for your assessments. And also, we begin with the end in mind in preparation for end of the year examination. On that note, class, it was beautiful to have you. Let's call it a day. Thank you. Till we meet again.